Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Venerable Sangha, Sialis and nuns and laity. So today we'll be discussing the group number, method number 12, which is pretty much or almost quite similar to the method number method number 9, right? So in terms of it's not going to be difficult, right? So it's quite easy, this method, right? Yes.
好，今天的话，老师将为大家继续讲解第12法的内容。那我们之所以直接跳到第12法呢，是因为第12法和第9法的相关内容呢，它们是非常相似的。OK， 班内。
So we'll have a quick comparison with the method number 9 and method number 12. So it will be easy to discuss. So, okay. So when you compare the Pali, so this is the method number 9 and this is the method number 12. So in method number 12, I will go through it in the Pali. Vedana khandena ye dhamma sampayutta te dhamma katihi khandehi katihayatanehi katihi dhatuhi sanghita te dhamma tihi khandehi dvihayatanehi attahi dhatuhi sanghita katihi asanghita dvihi khandehi dasahayatanehi dasahi dhatuhi asanghita. So Vedana Khandena. So in the Pali you see Vedana Khandena. It is the state of inquiry, which is the feeling aggregate. So Vedana Khandena. So here it's the other dhammas which belongs to this Peyala. So Vedana Khandena ye dhamma sampayutta. So here we are going to consider the dhammas which are associated. Right? Dhammas which are associated. Then the other part of the question says te dhamma katihi khandehi katihi ayatanehi katihi dhatuhi sanghita. So here the question is te dhamma, those states, katihi khandehi, with using how many aggregates, katihi ayatanehi, using how many bases, katihi dhatuhi, with using how many elements, are those dhamma sanghita. Are those dhammas classified, right? Sanghita. So then you have the answer for that here, te dhamma tihi kandehi. So the answer goes like that, right? Tihi kandehi, with it is associated it is classified using 3 aggregates, 2 bases and 8 elements. And then we have the other part of the question, it is on the unclassification, right? Katihi asanghita. Right, with using how many aggregates, using how many bases, and using how many elements are those states, are those dhammas are unclassified. So then the answer is given as dvihi kandehi dasahayatanehi dasai dhatuya sanghita. So what you see basically is in the beginning we have the association here, and then we have the we derive at a particular yadhamma from that, and those dhammas for those dhammas. We have the classification and the unclassification, right? So, yes.
好，我们来看一下第12法它是如何展开的。那在这里以受孕为例，那受孕呢作为在此的探究法， 接下来针对这种的探究法而进行发问，有哪些法是与受孕相应的呢？我们得到这样的答案。在得到这样的答案之后呢，对于这里与受孕相应的这些诸法呢，进一步的去探讨，又有其他哪些的法能够与这里的受孕的相应法相摄以及不相摄？那在经文之中呢，我们就看到，比如说对于受孕就问到，有哪些的孕处界能够与它能够摄于他们呢？他们能够摄于哪些的孕处界呢？给出的答案呢，就是这些法它们可以被摄于3种的孕、2种的处以及8种的界之中。那再接下来的问题是，有哪些是非摄的呢？它们不能够摄于哪些的孕处界呢？答案呢就是2种的孕，10种的处以及8种的界，10种的界，10种的处和10种的界。那这样呢是巴利经文有关于第12法展开的内容。
Right.
OK 吧？
So yes, yes, sir. So now when you compare this thing, the 12th method with the 9th method, which we discussed last week. So in this compare this thing. So go through it, right? Vedana Khandena Yedhamma Sampayutta. Right. So here we derive it. There's dhammas which are associated with the Vedana Khanda, with the feeling aggregate. Right. And then it says Tehi Dhammehi Yedhamma Sampayutta in the second part of the question. Right. Tehi Dhammehi Yedhamma Sampayutta. Then we have the answer for Te Dhamma on the association. Right. Te Dhamma Kati Kandehi Kati Ayatane Kati Dhatui Sampayutta. And also I'm sorry. Yeah. So then we have only the Sampayutta is there, right? Another question. So here we first arrive at the dhammas which are associated with the state of inquiry, and then we from using that dhammas we arrive at the second state of second year dhamma, second year dhamma using the first year dhamma. So when you compare this Sampayutta part, right? The first association of this method 9 and the first association of method 12 are the same, right? So that's why we learn these two methods together, because the first year dhamma is similar. So because of that, it would be easy for us to understand, to teach it, to learn it by this method, right? So first we learn the first year dhamma. Once we get the first year dhamma for here, so it's going to be the second year dhamma for this one, right? The others, yeah, for the 12th method.
好，那我
Yes,
们
sir.
如果将第12法与第9法做一个比较，那我们来看一下，在第9法之中呢，经文之中的出现的第一个耶达玛呢，就是针对探究法而引申出的，有哪些法能够与它们相应所提出的。那么在第12法之中的第一个耶达玛呢，它也是以这样的方式而发问得出的。那因此的话呢，我们可以看到第9法和第12法，它们在此呢是一致的。那因为这样的原因呢，在这里呢，老师将第9法跟第12法放在一起去进行解释。
All right. So now we'll straight away move into the table which Sale Aganyani drafted. So we'll use this table to examine the 12th method, and here it's very straightforward. The things are very straightforward. We have the same groups as for method number 9. We have the same groups, and first in the first with the part 1 of the question, we have to get the Sampayutta dhammas which are associated with the state of inquiry, and then we have to get the dhammas which are classified where those dhammas are classified and unclassified. Right? So it's quite straightforward and easy. So in this column we have the group, and we have this column, we have the state of inquiry. And here we have the first, we have the Yedhamma, those states. And then here we have the classification and the unclassification, right? Sanghita and Asangahita. So in the first one, we have the Vedana Khanda, right? So in the Pali, we find this as Vedana Khandena, right? With the Vedana Khanda. So the dhammas which are associated with the Vedana Khanda. So Vedana Khanda, we know it's the universal mental factor. So it is associated with 89 Chittas and the 51 Chetsikas, excluding Vedana. So those dhammas are classified in three aggregates: Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana. These three aggregates. And then when it comes to the bases, we have the Manayatana and Dhammayatana. When you come to the Dhatu, the elements, we have the 7 mind elements, 7 Vijnana Dhatu and Dhamma Dhatu, right? So 3, 2, 8. So that's what I see in the Pali here, right? Te Dhamma, Tihi Kandehi, Dvihayatanihi, Attahi Dhatuhi Sanghita. Right? Tihi Kande, 3 aggregates, Dvihayatanihi, 2 bases, Attahi Dhatuhi, 8 elements. Right? And then we move to the second, the other part, the third part of the answer. Actually, now what I'm doing is it's using this table. It's like, okay, I did not go through the whole question, right? So I just explaining the answer, right? This part of the question was not explained. It's straightforward. Okay, so then we have the unclassification. So unclassification is for the 89 Chittas and the 51 Chetsikas. It is unclassified in 2 aggregates. So what are those 2 aggregates? It's the Rupa Khanda and also the Vedana Khanda itself, right? Because here in the Yedhamma, we exclude the Vedana. So we have the two Khandas here, 2 aggregates here, Rupa Khanda and Vedana Khanda. And when it comes to the bases, there are 10 bases, which is the 10 gross bases, gross bases, 10 gross Rupayatana. And when it comes to the elements, we have the 10 gross dhatu, 10 gross elements. So that's how we get the answer for method group number 1 in the method number 12. Yes.
好，那在这里的话呢，我们看到这是由夏雷所制作的第12法的表格。那在这个表格之中，我们可以清楚的看到，对于12法的内容呢，它分为了3个部分。那第一个部分呢，其实提到了，和第9法当中内容一致的开头部分的第一个耶达玛的内容。那比如说对于受孕而言呢，它的相应诸法呢，那既是89种心51种的心所。在确定了第一个相应的耶达玛之后呢，对于这里的耶达玛的内容，以第2和第3个的问题，即是相摄和不相摄的方式呢，去进行发问。那对于这里的相应诸法，首先在第2个问题之中问到，他们可以摄于哪些的运处界呢？多少的运处界呢？那答案呢就是3种的运，那即是想运、行运和识运；2种的处，即是意处和法处；8种的界，即是70界还有法界。那第3个问题呢，则是对于上述的在问题1之中的耶达玛相应的这些诸法，它们不可以被摄于哪些的运处界呢？那第3个问题呢，显然和第2个问题是对立的。那于是我们得到，那有2种的运、10种的处和10种的界，它们呢是不会，这里的相应诸法呢是不会受摄于其中的。那2种的运呢，就是色运和受运本身。10种的处呢是10种的粗色处，10种的界呢就是10种的粗色界。
Yes. Yes, also may I continue?
Yes, Pandit.
Okay. So next one, the second group was the Vijnana Kanda. And Vijnana Kanda for the dhammas which are associated with the 52 Chetasikas. So actually we don't need to explain this part, right? Because we already did with method number 9, but I will quickly go through it, right? So we have the 52 Chetasikas, and those 52 Chetasikas, the mental factors, they are classified in 3 aggregates, the Vedana, Sanya, and Sankhara. And all those 52 Chetasikas are classified in the Dhammayatana and Dhamma Dhatu. So when it comes to the unclassification, the 52 Chetasikas, they are unclassified in the Rupa Kanda and the Vijnana Kanda. And so there are 2 for the, when it comes to bases, there are 11, so 10 gross bases and one manayatana. And when it comes to the dhatu, there are 17, so 10 gross rupa dhatu and 7 vijnana dhatu, the 7 mind elements, right? 10 gross elements and 7 mind elements. Right, so actually now this part is, yeah. So this part, the first part is like the first method, right? First method, right? In the first method, we get the state of inquiry. We directly find their classification and unclassification. So here we arrive at a particular dhammas which are associated, and then we do the classification and unclassification. Yes, sir.
好，我们来看一下，接下来是第2个探究法。那这里的内容呢是时运。对于时运而言呢，它的相应法即是52种的相应心所。接下来，对于52种心所，它们可以被归纳于3种的运、1种的处和1种的界。那52种的心所呢，可以被归纳在受运、想运和行运之中。那也可以被归纳在法界之中，因为法界包含有52心所，还有呢，法处之中，以及呢，法界之中。那么它不会被归纳于的是2种的运，色运和识运，11种的处，10种粗色处和异处，以及17种的界，那就是除了法界之外，剩下的17种的界。并且也提到这里的有关于相摄和不相摄的内容呢，它即是我们在最开始学习第1法之中所涉及到的内容。这部分的内容呢，相对而言是比较简单的。
Then we move to the group number 3, which is Chakku Vijnana Dhatu. The Pali we find it as Chakku Vijnana Dhatuya. So it is associated, the Chakku Vijnana Dhatu is associated with 7 universal mental factors. And those universal mental factors are classified in 3 aggregates, Vedana, Sanya, and Sankhara Kanda. And when it comes to elements, bases and elements, Dhammayatana and Dhammadhatu, those dhammas are unclassified in Rupa Kanda and Vijnana Kanda.
Sorry, so for Chakku Vijnana Dhatu, Sankhara here, Dhatu should be Mano Vijnana Dhatu, should be Chakku Vijnana Dhatu, right? Not Dhamma Dhatu.
No, we are talking about these 7 universal factors.
Yes, you're right.
Okay. Yes. So in comes to unclassification, we have the 2 aggregates, the Rupa Kanda and the Vijnana Kanda. For the Ayatana, we have 11, the 10 gross Rupayatana and the Manayatana. And also there are 17 elements, the 10 gross Rupa Dhatu, 10 gross Rupa Dhatu, and 7 Vijnana Dhatu, right? So yes, that's how we get the answer, right? So, okay.
好，第三个探究法呢是眼识界。那么首先呢，眼识界的相应诸法是七遍一切心所，那它是部分的心所。那接下来这7种的变异界心心所，它们可以被收摄在哪些的运处界呢？它们可以被摄于3种的运，即是受运、想运和行运。那一种的处即是法处，一种的界呢即是法，一种的处是法处，一种的界呢是法界。那因为所有的心所呢都被归纳于其中，那再有的话，它们不会被收摄于哪些的运处界呢？那答案呢，其实它们不会被归纳于2种的运、11种的处以及17种的界。2种的运呢，就是色运和识运；11种的处呢，是10个粗的色处以及意处。那17种的界呢，也是除了法界之外，剩下的17种的界，即是10种的粗色界，还有呢70界。可以问的。
Yes. Then we move into the fourth group, which is Samudaya Satya. Samudaya Satya in Pali. So Samudaya Satya, we know it's Lobha. So dhammas which are associated with Samudaya Satya are the 8 Lobha Chittas and the 21 Chetasikas, excluding the Lobha. And those dhammas, right? So we have the 21 mental factors and also the 8 consciousness, 8 Lobha Mula, the greed-rooted consciousness. So then we have 4 aggregates associated. 4 aggregates where these dhammas are classified, which is the Vedana, Sanya, and Sankara, which are applicable for the Chetasikas, and Vijnana Kanda is also there for the 8 Lobha Mula Chittas. Right? So there are 4 here. And when it comes to Ayatana, the bases and the elements, we have the Panayatana and Dhammayatana, 2, and Mano Vijnana Dhatu and Dhamma Dhatu, where these dhammas are classified. And when it comes to unclassification, we have the Rupa Kanda, right? Rupa Kanda here, one aggregate, and then we have the 10 gross Rupayatana, and we have when it comes to the elements, there are 16, the 10 gross Rupa Dhatu and 6 Vijnana Dhatu, right? So 6 Vijnana Dhatu excluding the Mano Vijnana Dhatu, right? So other 6 Vijnana Dhatu are applicable here. Yes, sir.
好，接下来是第4个探究法，那它是极地。极地的内容呢，就是贪心所。那对于贪心所而言，哪些法是作为贪心所的相应法呢？就是8种的贪根心，以及除了贪心所之外，剩余的21种可以与贪心相应的心所。那这些的法，它们可以被归纳于4种的运，即是受想行识4种的名运。那它们也可以被归纳于2种的处和2种的界。那2种的处呢，就是意处和法处；2种的界呢，就是意识界和法界。那相对立的，有哪些它们不会被收摄于哪些的运处界呢？它们不可能出现在色界，色运之中，并且呢，它们也不可能出现在10种的粗的色处之中，以及不可能出现在16种的界之中。那这里的16种的界呢，就是10种的粗色界，还有6种的识界。这里的6种的识界呢，就是70界去除了意识界之后剩下的6种的识界。
So now we move into group number 5, which is Sukhindriya. So Sukhindriya for Sukha Vedana, the dhammas which is applicable for the state of inquiry. So it is associated with Kaya Vijnana, the Kusala Vipaka Kaya Vijnana, and 6 universal mental factors, the universal Chetsikas, excluding the Vedana. And those Dhammas are classified in three aggregates, the Sanya Kanda, Sankhara Kanda, and the Vijnana Kanda. Right? And because we have that in this, we excluded the Vedana here, right? So only 3 aggregates are applicable here for the classification. So when it comes to elements, the bases and elements, we have Manayatana and Dhammayatana, 2. And here Kaya Vijnana Dhatu and Dhamma Dhatu. Right? So please note here only it's associated with the Kaya Vijnana Dhatu because it's the Sukhindriya. Right? And the Dhamma Dhatu is of course there because we have the other 6 universal mental factors. The unclassification, we have 2 aggregates, the Rupa Kanda and the Vedana Kanda, and then 10 gross for the bases. We have the 10 gross bases, 10 gross Rupa Ayatana, and for the elements there are 16 elements, the 10 gross Rupa Dhatu and 6 Vijnana Dhatu, right? 6 Vijnana Dhatu excluding the Kaya Vijnana Dhatu, which was classified. Right? So the other 6 Vijnana Dhatu, 6 mind elements, excluding this one, the Kaya Vijnana Dhatu. Yes.
好，下面是第5个的究竟法探究法。那这一组的探究法，我们以受根乐根为例。那么这里的乐根呢，它即是对应的受心所。那并且呢，这里的受呢，特指的是出现在善果报生识之中的乐受。那对于这种的乐受而言，它的相应法有哪些呢？它的相应法有即是善果报的生识，还有呢，除了受心所之外，剩下的6种的在变一切心所之中剩下的6种与善果报生识相应的心所法。好，那么对于这里的相应诸法，它们可以被归纳于3种的蕴、2种的处和2种的界。3种的蕴呢，即是善果报生识所对应的识蕴。那还有呢，6种变一切心所包含所对应的想蕴以及行蕴。2种的处呢，即是意处和法处。2种的界呢，在此呢，因为对于识蕴而言呢，只是有一种善果报的生识，所以呢，对于界而言的话呢，这种的识被特殊的对应于归纳于生识界之中，而6种的心所呢，则是被归纳在法界之中。好，那接下来他们不可以被归纳于哪些的蕴处界呢？那答案是他们不可以被归纳于2种的蕴、10种的处和16种的界。2种的蕴呢是色蕴和受蕴，10种的处呢是10种的粗的色处，16种的界呢是10种的粗色界，还有6种的识界。这里的6种识界呢是70界去除了生识界之后的6种识界。
We move to the next group, which is Upekhindriyana. So Upekhindriyana, it's associated with 55 chittas, 46 chetsikas, excluding the Vedana, Piti, Dosa, Issa, Matsarya, and Kukucha. So those Dhammas, these 55 chittas and 46 chetsikas, they are associated with 3 aggregates. I'm sorry, they are classified with 3 aggregates: Sanya, Sanya Kanda, Sankhara Kanda, and the Vijnana Kanda. For the bases, we have the Manayatana and Dhammayatana. There are 2 here. For the Dhatu or the elements, there are 7. So 6 Vijnana Dhatu, excluding the Kaya Vijnana, Dhatu, because in this Kaya Vijnana Dhatu, the Upekhindriya is not applicable, right? So So it's only the 6 Vijnana Dhatu excluding the Kaya Vijnana Dhatu. And also the Dhamma Dhatu is applicable here too. When it comes to the unclassification, we have the Rupa Kanda and the Vedana Kanda, 2 here, right? And for the bases, there are 10 gross bases, 10 gross Rupa Ayatana. And for the Dhatu, there are 11, 10 gross Rupa Dhatu and 1 Kaya Vijnana Dhatu. Yes, sir.
好，那么接下来是第6组的探究法，以舍根为例。那这里的舍根呢，即是舍受的心所。那么舍受呢，即是受心所。有哪些法能够作为舍受的相应法呢？有55种可能出现舍受的心，还有呢46种的相应心所。那这里的46种相应心所呢，是全部的52种相应心所去除受蕴本身，以及去除不可能出现在舍受心之中的喜心所，还有4种的嗔心所、嗔毒心所。那这样的话呢，得到46种的心所。那这些的相应法，它们可以被归纳于3种的蕴、2种的处和7种的戒。3种的蕴呢，就是想蕴、行蕴和识蕴。2种的处呢，即是意处和法处。7种的戒呢，是6种的识戒和法戒。这里为什么是6种的识戒呢？因为在70戒之中要特别的去除生识，在生识之中呢，不可能出现舍受，所以呢要将其去除。那这里的相应诸法不能够被摄于2种的蕴、10种的处和11种的戒。2种的蕴呢，就是色蕴和受蕴；10种的处呢是粗色，10种的粗色处；11种的戒呢是10种粗色戒之外呢，再包含再加上刚刚我们已经提到的生识戒。OK， 班队。
Yes, sir. The next, the group is group number 7, which we have the Salayatana Pachaya Passo. So in the Salayatana Pachaya Passo, it's the Dhammas, the Dhamma which is applicable here for the state of inquiry is the Passa Chetasika, the contact Chetasika. So it's associated with 89 Chittas and the 51 Chetasikas, excluding the Passa. So it is associated, it is classified in 4 aggregates, the Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana, right? 4 aggregates. And it is classified in 2 bases, Manayatana and Dhammayatana. And it is classified in 8 elements, the 7 Vijnana Dhatus, the 7 mind elements, and the Dhamma Dhatu, right? And it comes to the unclassification, Asangahita, we have the Rupa Kanda, 1 Kanda, and the 10 gross Rupa Ayatana, 10 gross bases, and 10 gross Rupa Dhatu, the 10 gross elements. Right? So it's quite easy.
好，那么第7组的探究法呢，这里呢我们看到的是Salayatana Pachaya Passo，即是6处缘处。它的根源法呢就是处心所，与处心所相应的是89心和51心所。这些相应法呢可以被归纳于4明蕴、2种的处、意处和法处、8种的戒、70戒和法戒。那它们不会被归纳于1种的蕴、色蕴、10种的处和10种的戒。那它们呢即是10种的粗色处及10种的粗色戒。
Then we move into the group number 8, which is Iddhipada. So Iddhipada, it's Chanda, Virya, Vimansa, and Chitta. So the Dhammas which are associated is the 33 Chetasikas here. So these 33 Chetasikas, for this we have the classification with three aggregates, Vedana, Sanya, and Sankhara Kanda. And for when it comes to the bases, we have the Dhammayatana, and for the elements, we have the Dhamma Dhatu. And for the unclassification, there are two, Rupa Khanda and the Vijnana Khanda. And then there are 11 bases which these dhammas are unclassified, the 10 gross Rupa Ayatana and Mana Ayatana. For Dhatu, there are 17 for the unclassification, the 10 gross Rupa Dhatu and the 7 Vijnana Dhatu. Right? There are 17. Yes.
好，第8组的探究法，我们首先看到的是一滴把的那就是神族作为代表。什么是这里的一滴把大呢？那这个内容呢，老师在之前已经讲过，它呢特别指代的是出世间心之中的神族。那其实欲情心观这4种的名法，与它们相应的法呢，则是出世间心之中去除了时运和3种的欲心所、清净心所、慧心所之外，剩下的36种的心所。那这个33个心所呢，即是作为神族的相应法。那这里的33个心所可以被归纳于3种的运，即是受运、想运、行运，1种的处和1种的界，法处、法界。它们不可以被归纳于2种的运，色运和识运，11种的处，即是粗色处和异处，那也不会被归纳于17种的戒，即是除了法界之外，剩下的17种戒。OK， 文。
Right. Yes. We move into the group number 8. So group number 8, the state of inquiry is Iddipada. So there are 4. I'm sorry. We move to group number 9. So it's jhana. So 5 jhanangas. So the 5 jhanangas which are applicable with the 27 Mahagata Chittas and the 8 Lokuttara Chittas. So there are 33 Chetikas only, right? So from 38 mental factors, we deduct the 5 jhanangas. So those are the dhammas which are associated with jhana. So these dhammas are classified in 3 aggregates: the Sanya Kanda, Sankhara Kanda, and Vijnana Kanda. They are classified in using 2 aggregates, the Manayatana and Dhammayatana, and they are classified with 2 bases, Mano Vijnana Dhatu and Dhamma Dhatu. And then they are unclassified with 2 aggregates, Rupa Khanda and the Vedana Khanda. And then we have the bases, which is 10 gross Rupayatana, and we have the 16 elements which these dhammas are unclassified, which is the 10 gross Rupa Dhatu and 6 Vijnana Dhatu. Right? So that's how we get the 16. Yes, sir.
好，接下来是第9组的探究法，以扎那为例。这里的扎那指代的是5种的禅知、寻思、喜受、一境性。它的相应法呢，就是可能出现禅知的27种广大心，还有呢8种的出世间心。那么除了心以外呢，还有在其中的相应心所，一共38种。那作为禅知的相应心所法呢，就是38种去除了5种的禅知之后，剩下的33个心所。那这样呢，一共是35种的心和33个相应心所法。它们可以被归纳于3种的运，想运、行运、识运，2种的处，意处、法处，2种的界，意识界和法界。它们不会出现在2种的运，色运和受运，10种的处，即是粗的色处，以及16种的界，那10种的粗色界和除了意识界之外，剩下的6种的识界。
So Here I forgot to tell one thing, which is for the 6 Vijnana Dhatu, it is excluding the Mano Vijnana Dhatu, right? This one. It serves.
Yes, but I already explained.
Okay, good. Okay, we have the Adhimukha, the next state of inquiry, group number 10. So it is associated with 78 chittas, excluding the 10 Vijnana chittas and the Vichikicha chitta, and also it's associated with 50 chesikas, excluding Adhimukha and Vichikicha. So these dhammas are classified using 4 aggregates: the Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana. Then it is classified using 2 bases, the Manayatana and Dhammayatana, and it is classified using 3 elements: the Mano Dhatu, Mano Vijnana Dhatu, and Dhamma Dhatu, right? Then for the unclassification, we have unclassified with 1 aggregate, the Rupa Kanda. It is unclassified with 10 elements, 10 gross Rupayatana, not 10 elements, it's 10 bases, the 10 gross bases, and 15 for the elements, there are 15. So it's 10 gross Rupa Dhatu and 5 Vijnana Dhatu, right? So from 5 Vijnana Dhatu means we have to deduct these 2, right? Mano Dhatu and Mano Vijnana Dhatu. The other 5 Vijnana Dhatu, the I consciousness element, etc. So those 5 are applicable here. Yes.
下面是第10组的探究法，以阿蒂摩卡圣解心所为代表。那圣解心所，我们首先要知道有哪些心不会拥有圣解心所呢？那一共有11种的心，它们不会有圣解心所，即是双无实，还有呢疑相应心、疑相应的痴根心。那这11种的心呢，不会出现圣解心所，所以呢，在89种心之中，我们要去除这11种心，得到78种的心，它们是作为圣解的相应心法。那相应的心所法呢，自然也就应当去除疑心所，以及呢圣解心所本身之后剩下的50种心所。这样的78种心和50种的相应心所法，它们可以被归纳于4种的蕴、2种的处和3种的戒。4种的蕴呢，就是受想行识四明蕴；2种的处呢是意处和法处；3种的戒呢，在这里呢包含有意戒、意识戒，还有呢法戒。那这些相应法，它们不会出现在1种的蕴、色蕴、10种的处、10种粗色处，还有呢15种的戒，即是10种的粗色戒和去除了意识和意戒和意识戒之外，剩下的5种的识戒。
So the next group is Sukhaya Vedanaya Sampayutta Dhamma. So Sukhaya Vedanaya Sampayutta Dhamma, it's applicable with the Vedana, which is associated, the feeling, conscious feeling mental factor, which is associated with the state of enquiries, right? So the Sukha and the Somanasa Vedana in 63 chittas. So these dhammas are classified into 1 aggregate, which is the Vedana Kanda, one base and 1 element, Dhammayatana and Dhammadhatu. And in the unclassification, so it's 4, right? Rupa Kanda, Sanya Kanda, Sankhara Kanda, and the Vijnana Kanda. And for the bases, there are 11, the 10 gross Rupayatana and the Manayatana, right? So we have the 11 here. And then we have for the elements, we have the 10 gross Rupa Dhatu and the 7 Vijnana Dhatu. So there are 70. Yes.
好，我们看一下，下面呢是第11组探究法呢是Sukhaya Udanaya Sampayutta Dhamma，即是乐受的相应法。那乐受相应法的相应法 乐受相应法的相应法呢，就回归到乐受本身。那乐受呢，它不仅包含出现在一界一时界诸心之中的受，还有可能包含出现在上果报生识之中的乐受。那这样的话呢，一共是在63种心之中出现的受。其根源法、其相应法呢，从究竟法而言呢，就只有一种的名法，就是受心所。那对于受心所而言呢，它可以被归纳于一种的运、一种的处和一种的界，即是受运、法处和法界。它不可以被归纳于呃相对立的4种的运、11种处和17种的界，即是除了受运之外，剩下的4种的运：色运、想运、行运、识运，11种的处。10种粗色处和异处，17种的界是粗色界和七识界。
Then we move into the group number 12, which is Savitaka Savichara Dhamma. The Dhammas which are associated with Savitaka Savichara Dhamma is the Vitaka and Vichara itself, right? So this Vitaka and Vichara, they belong to the Sankhara Kanda. So it's classified with only one aggregate, Sankhara Kanda. And for the bases and the elements, we have the Dhammayatana and Dhammadhatu. For the unclassification, it's in aggregates, it's unclassified in with four aggregates: the Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, and Vijnana. And for the bases, there are 11. So the 10 gross Rupayatana and the Manayatana, it's 11. Then we have for the bases, it's 17. There are 17. So it's the 10 gross Rupa Dhatu and 7 Vijnana Dhatu. It's it, right? So in those, the Vitaka and Vichara are unclassified. So there are 17 in total. Yes.
好，第12组呢是有循有四法，即是循和四的相应法。那么有循有四法的相应法呢，就是循和四本身，这是2个心所。这2个心所可以被归纳于行运、法处和法界，但是呢，它们不会被归纳于色处、色运、受运、想运、识运。色运、受运、想运、识运也不会出现在色处和任何的色处以及异处之中。它也不会出现在17种的界，即是10种的粗色界和70界。
So now we move into the final group, which is Chetasika Dhamma, the 13th one. So it is associated, this Chetasika Dhammas, it's the 52 Chetasikas, which are the Dhammas which are applicable for the Chetasika for the state of inquiry. So those are the 89 Chittas which are associated with these 52 Chetasikas. And those 89 Chittas, they are classified into one aggregate, which is the Vijnana Kanda, and it is classified into one base, which is Manayatana. It is classified into 7 elements, which is 7 Vijnana Dhatu, right? 7 mind elements. Unclassification is also straightforward and easy. So it's unclassified with 4 aggregates, using 4 aggregates: Rupa Kanda, Vedana Kanda, Sanya Kanda, and Sankhara Kanda. And unclassified using 11 bases, which is 11 bases, 10 gross bases, and Dhammayatana, and with 11 elements, which is the 10 gross elements, and the Dhamma Dhatu. Right, so it's quite straightforward.
对，好，那最后一组呢，探究法呢是以心所法为代表，其实包含有所有的52种心所，它们的相应法呢就是所有的心89种心，89种心可以被归纳于10运、异处和70界，即是1种的运、1种的处和70界。那它不会出现在4种的运、11种的处和11种的界。4种的运呢，就是色运、受运、想运、行运。11种的处呢，即是除了一处之外，剩下的处。 那11种的戒呢，即是除了70戒之外，剩下的10种粗色戒和法戒。
Right. So we are done with these 13 groups, which comes in the 12th method. There are a couple of things which I would like to share with you all regarding this method number 12. One is now, okay, sure. And here now, okay, this is the table which Mulapatthana Sayadaw used to explain the method number 9 and 12. So here also we see 13 groups, which we already discussed. But when you look at the Pali, okay, let me see, not the Pali. When you look at the Sayadaw's translation. So in this translation, I'm sharing the Sayadaw's translation, the book. So we are in the 12th method, right? So we have the translation here up to this page for method number 12. And Sayadaw's explain it, the explanation of the method and the chart. And after that, we find this table, which explains the states of enquiries for this method, right? So, but here you should, if you have gone through this book for preparation, you see only 9 groups here, right? But we learned 13 groups, and Sayadaw also used the 13 groups to explain this method number 12, which is similar to method number 9, right? The same way Sayadaw explained. So I could not find any particular reason for this to include all this to explain this thing in 9 methods, right? Although it's Sayadaw uses 13 methods, but the total number, it is same. The 120 states of enquiry are same, right? There is no error in that, and also there is no error here also. So what the only thing which I see is that in the Burmese Nisaya, the Burmese Nisaya for the Dhatukatha, it's using explain 9 methods, right? So I think Sayadaw used the same format for method to which is from the Burmese Nisaya to explain this thing to explain the method number 12, right? The states of enquiries. So either we can use this method, this table also, or we can use the state of enquiry table, which we used in method number 9 to explain further explain on each of these groups, right? So either way you can do, but there are here, if you go through this thing, there should be slightly small differences here, right? So I think it would be easy for you to if you refer the method, the state of enquiry table, which we used in method number 9. Yes.
好，那么以上呢，我们就结束了全部的第12法里面所提到的探究法的类型。那么因为呢，我们是借由表格，那在学习了第9法之后，直接呢引用相同的表格呢来去学习第12法的内容，探究法的内容。那所以呢，我们在我们刚刚所看到的表格之中呢，是将所有的探究法分为了13组啊，或者说呢是12个组别。那这13组呢，他们呢是在穆拉巴塔纳西亚多的书册的最后的附录部分呢， 对于第十二法的探究法的归纳呢，是与第九法相同，都分为了13组、12组。但是呢，如果我们回到书中，就是文本的地方呢，我们现在看到屏幕上的这里面呢，其实在第十二解释第十二法的最后呢，所做出的总结，那就是所有的探究法呢，一共呢是可以被分为9种的类型，9种的答案。那这9种的答案呢，它的探究法的数量加在一起，也是120种的探究法。那和我们在刚刚看到的内容呢是一致的。但是呢，其类型呢却并非是12组，在此呢是9组的内容。那尊者解释说呢，他查了一下缅甸的尼萨亚的传统的尼萨亚的书当中对于戒论这部分的解释，也是呢以9种的方法呢去进行解释，所以可能呢西亚多也是按照同样的方式，呃，借由9种的方式呢，在这里呢对于第十二法之中所有出现的探究法进行了整理和归纳。那虽然说在组数的数量上呢会存在些许的差异，但是呢，它并不会妨碍我们呢，参照我们刚刚所学习过的表格呢，去理解第十二法的内容。换言之呢，我们既可以以这里的9种分组的方式呢，去学习所有的探究法，也可以呢，以在我们刚刚看到的13组的方式呢，来去学习第十二法的探究法。
Okay, so in the Viber group, I sent a message to you all that I will explain some details and alternative method, which comes for the method number 5, and which is explained in the commentary, right? We discussed the method number 5 some time ago, and I forgot to explain this alternative method, which is in the commentary. And I ask you all to revise the method number 5 on the method which we learned before learning this alternative method. So yes.
好，那么尊者呢在Viber 群组之中呢，也有提到，在这节课呢，我们将会讨论第十二法的内容。除此以外呢，我们也将去探讨，这个第五法之中，另外的一种得到答案的选择的方式。这样的方式呢，是来自于阿塔嘎塔的内容。好，那接下来呢，尊者将会，借由这部分的解释呢，跟大家做一个分享。
Right. So I will quickly recap on the method which we learned already. So here it's explained, we have the state of inquiry is the Rupa Khandena it says. So then we have the three unclassifications, right? Unclassified using the aggregates, unclassified using the bases, unclassified using the elements. So, and we derive at the first tier Dhamma, right? So that's how we go through it to get it, right? So here we have the first tier Dhamma, which is the 89 consciousness. So, right, so we have to work on these three unclassifications and we derive, right? And then we have the second part of the question, which is Tehi Dhammehi, this part, right? By those states, 89 consciousness. Then we have, again, we have to work on the unclassifications. Khanda Sanghahena Sanghahita, Ayatana Sanghahena Sanghahita, and Dhatu Sanghahena Sanghahita. So we have the matter, feeling, perception, and mental formations, and Nibbana. Then here, Ayatana Sanghahena Sanghahita, it's matter, mental formations, feeling, perception, mental formations, and Nibbana. Right, so same it here also. And then the Dhammas which comes here, it's for the second year Dhamma is matter, feeling, perception, mental formations, and Nibbana. Right, so we derive this answer, and finally we get the Dhammas which are unclassified here. Right, like this. We work on this way. Yes.
首先我们来回顾一下对于第五法的相关的内容，比如说以色蕴为例。那么对于色蕴呢，首先我们要得到阿三个黑大的内容。那么以蕴色非色呢，我们得到的是受想行识和涅槃。以触色非色呢，得到的是89种心；戒色非色呢，得到的是89种心。那由此呢，我们得到了第一个耶达玛的内容呢，就是89种的心。那这里的耶达玛将会作为接下来的德利达美黑的内容。那对于89种的心呢，进一步的去探讨以蕴色非色呢，而得到除了识蕴之外，非色的色受想行和涅槃。那接下来呢，以触色非色呢，进一步的得出呢是色受想行和涅槃。那么以戒色非色呢，同样的，最终呢我们得到了耶达玛的答案呢是色受想行和涅槃。那最终呢，对于这里得到的耶达玛呢，再去进行探讨，他们呢非摄于哪些的蕴处界。这个呢是第五法它的相关的结构。
Okay, so here this is the Pali, which you see, Rupa Khandena Yedamma, etc. You see the Pali here. And I have copied the phrase, which the explanation from the commentary, the alternative method I have highlighted here. And I'll go through this alternative method with reference to this Pali, right? So I will use the Pali itself, so it will be easy to explain. And if you're not very good with Pali, don't worry, right? We'll explain everything. So this is the Pali for the Rupa Khanda, which we learned in the method number 5. So here I'll go through this Pali here from the Dhātukatha. So it says athava yadetang rupakhandena viññānameva tihi khandādi sangahi asangahita. So athava. So athava means here it means alternatively in another method, right? Athava means that. So in the first it's explained the method which we discussed already from this point, right? From here it explains the alternative method, athava. So alternatively, yadetang rupa khandena viññānameva tihi khandādi sangahehi asangahita. So from the rupa khanda, by using the rupa khanda, this viññānameva, only the viññāna itself is classified using the three three classifications, right? Using these three classifications, only the viññāna is unclassified, right? So now here we have to understand what it means, right? So it's not very much different to what we learned, right? So it's rupa khandena ye dhamma. Does not work this highlighted. Okay, anyway, I use the normal pencil. So rupa khandena ye dhamma, khanda sangahena asangahita, ayatana sangahena asangahita, dhatu sangahena asangahita. Right? So these are the three classifiers, right? Which these dhammas aren't classified. So the first ye dhamma. So the first ye dhamma becomes the viññāna, right? So this part, the final answer is similar to this one, right? 89 consciousness, but we don't consider this Khanda Sang to, I mean, we don't like here we see kind of a filtering, right? Feeling, perception, mental formation, consciousness, and Nibbana. And you filter the consciousness, right? When you move into through these unclassifications. But here we don't consider it in this way. So only we pick up the Nibbana, right? And derive at the first ye dhamma itself.
But can you explain in detail how we directly get this viññāna here?
Yeah, so it says like in general, what we do here, like we use this, the method is, I would say it's pretty much same, right? Here, what we do is pretty much same, right? So instead of like, I think we need to explain the first part also. Here, see in the first method, in the first explanation, it says rupa khandena hi chattaro khanda nibbānanca khanda sangahena asangahita. So by rupa khanda, the four aggregates and nibbana is unclassified using the classification of elements. We get in this way. Then ayatana dhatu sangahena pana tapetva viññāna avasesa sangahitati viññānameva tihipi khanda sangahadihi asangahita nama. So in ayatana, in the classification of bases and elements, excluding the viññāna, the other dhammas, right? So other four aggregates and nibbana are classified, and because of that, the viññāna is considered to be unclassified. Vijnana is unclassified using the 3 classifications of Khandha, etc. Right? And then that's how we get the answer for the first part. So here we don't consider about much on the other dhammas, right? We know that these dhammas, when you consider the Rupa Khandha, when you look at all the 3 aggregates, the 3 classifications, the Vijnana itself becomes unclassified, right? So that's how we get the answer for the first part.
Okay, Bante. Also, Bante, could you please, because maybe a lot of audience they already forgot the number 5, can you please using the same way to explain to the audience first for the fifth
This
method?
Oh, okay. Which means also like to write down the Sarupata here itself, right?
Yes, Bante, like as you wrote.
Okay. So Rupa Khandena Yedama Khanda Sangahena Asangahita Ayatana Sangahena Sangahita Dhatu Sangahena Asangahita. So Rupa Khandena, it's the 28 matter. And then we have the Khanda Sangahena Sangahita unclassified using the classification of aggregates. So it's the 4 mental aggregates, right? So Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and then we have the Vijnana, and then finally we have the Nibbana, right? So with that, we have to move into the next one, which is Ayatana Sangahena Sangahita. We have to take these Dhammas, right, to the next classification. And also, we have to consider this 28 matter as well. So when we consider this 28 matter, right, so on these 28 matters, 28 matter, we have 16 subtle matter, and we have 12 gross matter, right? So this 16 subtle matter, they are included in the ideation element, ideation base, right? And because of that, out of these Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Nibbana, so these dhammas are included in the ideation base, right? So these dhammas are not considered, right? So it's the Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana are not considered, right? Only the Vijnana Khanda, it's applicable for Ayatana Sangahena Asangahita. So same with the Dhatu Sangahena Asangahita, it's only the Vijnana, right? So the Yedama becomes the Vijnana. Yes.
OK，好，那么因为考虑到大家有些可能会忘记，所以呢，请就尊者呢再给大家解释一下第五法是怎么样子去使用的。那第五法呢，其实先去探讨呢，探究法的以运处界3种的类型去探讨耶达玛的不相似的情况。那确定这里的，比如说探究法是28种的色法，下来我们如何去得到第五法之中的首先出现的耶达玛呢？那首先要以看达、桑嘎黑那、阿桑嘎黑达。那对于这里的探究法本身呢是色蕴，那么非摄于色蕴的究竟法有哪些呢？ 即是一切究竟法之中，除了28种色法以外的受想行识四名运，还有呢涅槃。那这个呢是我们先得到的耶达玛的内容。那再接下来呢，第二个步骤是阿亚达那桑嘎黑那阿桑嘎黑达，那要以运摄呢去探讨非摄。那即是呢，对于探究法28种的色法，它首先可以归纳于哪些的以触摄非摄，可以归纳于哪些的触呢？28种的色法，它可以被归纳于10种的粗的色触，还有呢1种的法触。因为28种色法之中的16种细色，可以出现在法触之中。好，那么对于这11种的触，那么有哪些法不会被归纳于我们刚刚得到的耶达玛的内容？有哪些不会出现在它们之中呢？那因为像受想行和涅槃呢，它们都会出现在法处之中，只有异处呢，它不会出现在这些内容之中，所以呢，由此我们可以得到阿亚达那桑嘎黑那阿桑嘎黑达的内容呢，就是剩下的十蕴89种心。同样的，对于达都桑嘎黑那阿桑嘎黑达也是最终得到的呢，也是十蕴。OK，班队。
Okay, so I think I'll explain this first method first, right, initially, and then move to this one, right? I think it would be easy. If I do it simultaneously, then it would be difficult for us to understand it. Okay, so then we have the second part of the question. Tehi dhammehi ye dhamma khanda sanghahena asangahita, ayatana sanghahena asangahita, dhatu sanghahena asangahita, right? So tehi dhammehi becomes the ye dhamma itself. So viññāna by those states. So ye dhamma khanda sanghahena asangahita, ayatana sanghahena asangahita, and dhatu sanghahena asangahita. So for khanda sanghahena asangahita, Khanda Sanghahena Asangahita, it's the meta aggregate in Pali, right? It's the Rupa Khanda, Vedana Khanda, Sanya Khanda, Sankhara Khanda, and in addition to that, we have the Nibbana also. Right? Nibbana is also there. Khanda Sanghahena Asangahita. Then we move into the next part. Ayatana Sanghahena Asangahita. Ayatana Sanghahena Asangahita. So the Vijnana it does not change, right? Because yeah, Vijnana is not included in any of them, so it's the same set of dhammas. Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Nibbana. Right, so Dhatu Sanghahena Asangahita also, it's the same answer we get. Okay, so this is the answer for the second Niyadam, right? Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Nibbana. Okay, so I'll draw an arrow. Same dhammas. Right. And finally, this part, it's easy. So te dhamma kati kandehi kati ayatanehi kati kandehi kati ayatanehi kati dhatu asangita. So those states with how many aggregates, how many bases, with how many elements are those states are unclassified, right? So those dhammas are unclassified with ekena kandena, with one aggregate, which is the viññāna kanda, and ekena ayatanena, it is the manayatana, and sattva dhatuhi, it's the 7 viññāna dhatu. 7 viññāna dhatu. And so that's how we get the answer here. Okay.
好，那我们现在已经确定了第一个的叶达嘛，那就由射非射的方式获得呢，它是时运，就是89种的心。这里的叶达嘛呢，将会作为第二个问题的相当于探究法。那进一步的再以射非射的方式呢去进行发问，而得到第二个的叶达嘛。那如果我们要得到第二个的叶达嘛，那首先呢，我们知道这里的 dehi damehi 呢，就是上述刚得到的叶达嘛89种的心。那接下来如果是以运射非射而言，那我们可以得到什么样的叶达嘛呢？那对于89种的心而言，首先它可以被归纳为时运。那除了时运以外，那一切究竟法除了时运以外，不会被归纳在时运之中的究竟法呢，剩下的就是受想行运以及涅槃。好，那同样的，对于以触射非射而言呢，首先89种的心呢，它们是可以被归纳为意触。那上述得到的受想行运和涅槃，它们之中有哪些不会被归纳于意触之中呢？得到呢，它们全部都不会被归纳于意触之中。同理，那如果是以戒摄非摄而言呢，89种的心它可以被归纳于70戒。那受想行和涅槃，受想行运和涅槃之中有哪些不会出现在70戒之中呢？那得到呢，它们全部都不会出现在70戒之中。最终呢，我们得到了第二个的耶达玛的内容呢，就是受想行运以及涅槃。那这里的第二个的耶达玛将作为第三个问题的主题，就是对达玛。好，那进一步的发问，对于受想行运和涅槃，它们不会被归纳于哪些的运处界呢？那很显然，它们不会被归纳于89种的心。那89种的心呢，即是1种的运、1种的处和7种的界，即是时运、意处和70界。那最终呢，我们得到了这样的答案。
Done, right? How
Yes,
so?
Bandit. Yes, Bandit.
Did you explain this part from the alternative method?
Bandit, can you repeat again how to get directly the second method?
Okay, so instead of doing all these things, right, all this filtering, it says directly you consider the Rupa Kanda. From Rupa Kanda, it's the Viññāna, right? It is Asangahita in all three classifications, right? So that's what it says Atava Yadetang Rupa Kandena Viññānameva Tihi Kanda Di Sangahihi Asangahita, like that.
Okay, Bandit, I understand. So it means altogether to check like by the Sanghita, Sanghina, Asangahita, altogether Kanda, Ayadana, Dadu. So which Dharma cannot be applied.
Can you repeat also?
Like just according to the rupa, then doing the kanda sanghina asanghita, ayatana sanghina asanghita, dhatu sanghina asanghita. So directly discussed by the rupa. Then with this answer to find there's a one dharma which is vijnana kanda can
Yes.
apply. Okay, Amanda.
Yes. Yes.
OK。好，那第二种的方法的话呢，我们可以得到时运呢，是去以运摄非摄、触摄非摄、界摄非摄这三种的方式呢，都针对于探究法色蕴本身而去得到他们的答案的交集。那像这样的方式呢，我们就可以直接得到对于色蕴而言，以运摄非摄、以触摄非摄、以界摄非摄呢，它们最终的交集呢，就只是有时蕴。
Right. So now we have explained up to this part. Right. So this part we have done. So then it says Puna te rupa dhamma vinyanameva tihi sangahehi asangahita. Right. I'm going to explain this part. Puna means again. Te rupa dhamma means those rupa dhammas itself. Rupa dhammas. Rupa dhamma vinyaneneva from vinyana tihi sangahehi asangahita. So by again vinyaneneva from the vinyana itself, the rupa dhammas are unclassified. So tehi dhammehi, we know here tehi dhammehi becomes the vinyana, right? So then for khanda sangahena asangahita, ayatana sangahena asangahita, and dhatu sangahena asangahita, right? We say the using these three unclassification, the yedama becomes the okay. So yedama becomes the rupa itself. Rupa itself, right? It says like if you put in one side, from one side you have Vijnana Kanda. I'm sorry, if you have the Rupa Kanda and as the state of inquiry, and you figure out that the Vijnana Kanda itself, the Vijnana itself becomes the Dhammas which are unclassified using the three classifications, right? And if you put it in the other way around, if you swap it, then the Vijnana Kanda, by the Vijnana Kanda, Rupa itself becomes the Dhamma, which are the Dhammas which are unclassified using the three classifications, right? So it's like we had Rupa in one side, and then we arrived at Vijnana, and we are doing it other way around, right? So if you have the Vijnana as the Te Dhammi here, then the Rupa becomes the other side, right? But now if you compare, this is the second year Dhamma, right? And also from this method, the first method which we learned, this is the second year Dhamma, right? This matches, this tallies, right? The Rupa here, Rupa Kanda is there, but the Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Nibbana is not applicable in this method, right? Only the Rupa Kanda is there. So what we do is basically this one, right? You have it one side, the Rupa Kanda, and the final, you get the Vijnana Kanda. So if you have the Vijnana Kanda as the classifier, the unclassified, I'm sorry, Vijnana Skanda as the unclassified, the Rupa Kanda itself becomes the second, the state of those states, the Yedamma itself. So that's what it means mentioned here. Yes, sir.
So This one means, but it means if the Sarupata Dhamma is a Vijnana Khanda, then the Yedhamma will be the Rupa.
Yes, Rupa itself. You don't consider this part.
Second Yedhamma will be the Rupa.
Yes, for the second Yedhamma, like that.
Then this one is not related to this Pali paragraph. Just
Which Pali paragraph?
This paragraph
This one.
we are talking about. It's just to discuss some other condition. If we have the condition, the Sarupa Dhamma is Vijnana.
So you are telling about this one also, right? This Pali. Is it? I mean, what we do here is slightly different, right? The answer for the second Yedhamma is also different, right? Now you see, in this method, in the first method we had all these dhammas for the second Yedhamma, but here it's only the Rupa which comes here. So how we approach this method, using this method, is like, you have in one side, when you say from Rupa Khanda, only the Vijnana becomes the dhammas which are Asangahita. So the dhammas which are Asangahita by the Rupa Vijnana Khanda itself becomes the Rupa, like that. So we don't do it like in the previous method, we don't do. So previous method, we did it in this way, right? We arrived at Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Nibbana, like that. So here it's different.
Explain more, Bande.
Sorry?
Can you explain again?
Okay. Explain again. Okay, so we are okay up to this point, right? The first Dhamma, it's clear, right? I think there is no issue at all to arrive this one. So now arriving at the second Yedhamma, to arrive at the second Yedhamma, right? It says, in the Pali, it says, Puna, right? Starting from here. Puna, te Rupa Dhamma, Vijnaneva tihi Sangahe Asangahita. So the first Dhamma is the Vijnana, right? Vijnaneva means by the Vijnana itself. So tehi Dhammehi becomes straightforward, right? This becomes here, comes here, right? Vijnana. So Yedhamma for Khanda Sangahena Asangahita, Ayatana Sangahena Asangahita, Dhatu Sangahena Asangahita, it becomes the Rupa Khanda itself, right? The Rupa Khanda, or we say Rupa Dhamma itself, becomes the Dhammas which are unclassified using these three classifications. That's what it says, right? So if you put it in another way means not in another way, if you put it in the same way, it's the same thing, right? So what we did up to this point, right? What we did up to this point until the arrival of the second Yedhamma, what we did was, we have the state of inquiry, right? So, okay, right, the state of inquiry was...
I'm a little bit confused, Bande, because here the second Yedhamma, finally it is Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, and Nibbana. It is not just only Rupa.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. In this method, the answers are not the same. And if you truly look into the classifications and all the Paramatha Dhammas, like you can say this is more accurate.
You see the second Yedhamma is just Rupa, how can we get the correct answer?
we can get the correct answer. Yeah, correct answer is not a problem. It can be done. That's explaining the other sentence in the Pali, in the Dhatukatha. Right. So what we do is, now we have the rupa here, rupa khanda, as a state of enquiry. So we say from this the vijnana, right? The vijnana becomes the first Dhamma, right? This is the first Dhamma, right? So first Dhamma, and that becomes the unclassified term, right? And this becomes the tehi dhammi. So with that says which using the three unclassifications, the rupa itself becomes the answer. That's what it says. It's like basically you look it in so instead of using these classifications, you are like looking the same set of dhammas in two ways, right? Rupa becomes the rupa becomes the vijnana, becomes the dhammas which are unclassified by rupa using three aggregates. So vice versa, the rupa becomes the dhammas which are unclassified by the vijnana, like that. In that way you think. So the answers are not the same, right? The answer for the second yadama are not the same. Okay, I will explain
Yes,
the
but
other part
if
later.
if it is not the same, then for the final answer, the Dhamma ikina kantena ikinaya dena sati sadahita duhi asangahita. This answer will not be the same.
It becomes same. I will explain it. Please translate up to this point.
OK， so 那么这里的话呢，有提到，如果我们得到的第二个耶达玛的内容呢，它是时韵呢，那么如果这里的我们得到的第一达米利的内容呢是时韵，也就是第一个耶达玛的内容是时韵之后呢，我们将得到第二个耶达玛的内容呢就是色法。那为什么这里得到色法以后，因为我们在之前如果是按照第五法的内容去进行推演呢，那最终得到的第二个耶达玛的内容呢，它应当是色蕴、受蕴、想蕴、行蕴和涅槃。为什么这里只说是色法呢？老师将会进一步的进行解释。OK， 本地。
Right. So in the Pali, now we are explaining this part, right? From this point onwards. Viññānaṁca khandato eko viññāna khando hoti āyatanato ekang manāyatanang dhātuto satta viññāna dhātuyo tasma ekena khandenāti ādi butta. So then it explains the final answer, which again it's related, right? Now here what we know was right. So dhammas which becomes asangahita, right? We see this relationship, rupa and vijnana and rupa. So again, further it uses the rupa to the vijnana, the relationship between the rupa to the vijnana, like this, right? So say vijnanansa, right? So the final step is the asangahita. So the final question is, right? Te dhamma katihi kandehi katihi ayatani katihi dhatui asangahita. So instead of working with this rupa and figuring out one by one, one by one to get the answer for the final answer. So stay the viññāṇaṁ. So you establish a relationship with the viññāna. So viññānaṁ khandato eko viññāna khandu. So from using the khanda, it becomes eko viññāna khandu, right? Then ayatanato eka manayatana. So from ayatana, it's one, it's manayatana. And here it says dhatuto satta viññāna dhatuyo, right? So 7 mind elements from dhatu. And tasma ekena kandena ati buddha. So therefore, hence, ekena kandena iti adi buddha. So that's why the answer, the final answer was given as ekena kandena, ekena ayatanena, like that. Right? That's what it explains. So instead of, so we derive the second yedamma as the rupa, as here, but still we consider this part, right? The rupa and the asangahita as the viññāna kanda itself. Viññāna kanda, like that. Not asangahita using the three unclassification, right? Yes. Thank you, right? Okay, good. Great.
Yes, Stanley, can we understand like when we get the second Dhamma as Vijnana Kanda, then when we using the Asangahita to get this, when we get the first Dhamma as Vijnana Kanda, then we use Asangahita to get the second Dhamma. By this second Dhamma, again we ask Asangahita to get the final answer. Because of this, it will come back to the first Yedama, Dehidamiti, first Dehidamiti again. Then the final answer can be directly included into the Vinaya Kanda itself of the Jidas, and we discuss Kanda Aidana and Dadu. It's just related to the Vijnana Kanda itself.
Yes, yes, like that we can consider.
So by this way, we even don't need to consider the second Dhamma. We directly get the final answer. It's like one Kanda, one Aitana, and 7 Dadu.
Cannot say in that way. I mean, we consider it. I mean, we have to arrive at this answer, right?
Yes,
for the second
here,
Yedama, we have to
so
arrive
here,
it.
according to
And
your explanation, the second Dhamma, it will just discussing the relationship between Rupa and Nama. Between
yes,
Rupa
yes.
and Vijnana.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, you arrive at the second Yedama, and after that, again, you establish the relationship and figure out the numbers. Yes.
好，那么这里的话呢，对于第一个的耶达嘛，我们得到的内容呢是十蕴，即是89种的心。那么对此呢，我们要去探讨依与蕴处界的相似而言，那么这里的89种心，依于89种心对于蕴处界的相似而去探讨，非摄的情况。那么 对于最终得到的答案呢，又再次的去进行解释，它们呢要飞射于哪些的运出界。那以这样的关系呢，我们最终得到的答案呢，即是相当于时运它本身可以相射于哪些的运出界。所以在此呢，对于时运呢，它本身呢就是一种的运，一种的处呢就是一处，那一种的界呢就是就是实界。那由此呢，我们最终得到的答案呢，也就是建立在时运本身之上而得出的。
Okay, so yes, that's the explanation, the alternative method, which is explained in the commentary. For the fifth method, but now this alternative method, right? So we were explaining now these are the 5 groups which we learned for the method number 5. This alternative method we learn now we discuss on this one, right? On this part only. And it's difficult to apply this thing to the other methods. Please think about it, more methods, right? I try to figure it, try to come up, but it seems like it's difficult to apply this method to method number 2, group number 2. I think it does, it can be applied. Yeah, it does, it can. Okay, so please work it out. Please try to work this second method to other groups, and let's discuss it about it next week.
But I think it also can be applied, just like what
Yeah,
we just discussed. We directly thinking the first yedama, then discussing the Sanghahita of this first yedama condition, we can get the final answer.
okay. We'll discuss it about this one next week, right? So, any questions? I share the merits and wind up the class. Okay, so we'll share the merits which we accumulated during during our session by learning, reflecting, and teaching the supreme words of our Lord Buddha. With this kusala karma, may it be a supportive factor for us to attain Nibbana. May this be a supportive factor for our teachers, our donors, our Dhamma friends, and everybody, the practitioners, to attain Nibbana. May this kusala karma be a supportive factor for all the beings in this world and the other worlds to attain Nibbana. So with this wish, we'll recite these final stanzas from the Abhidhamma commentary and share the merits. Yang pattang kusalang tassa anubhavena panino sabbe saddhamma rajassa ñatva dhammang sukhavahang papunantu visuddhaya sukhaya patipattiya asoka manupayasang nibbana sukha muttamang chirang tittatu saddhammo dhamme tu sagarva Sabbepi satta kalena sammadevo pavassatu yatarakkensu purana surajano tatevimang raja rakkatu dhammena attanova pajang pajang Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya buddhang pujemi. Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya dhammang pujemi. Imaya dhammanu dhamma patipattiya sanghang pujemi. Addhaimaya patipattiya jati jara vyadhi maranam ha parimuccissami idammi punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu idammi punyang nibbānassa paccayo hotu Mama punya bhagang sabba sattanang bhajemi te sabbe me samang punya bhagang labantu Buddha sasanang cirang tiddhatu Buddha sasanang cirang tiddhatu Buddha sasanang cirang tiddhatu Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much for this teaching. Sadhu.
Thank you very much, Bante.